This is part 3 of our series concerning board dynamics with respect to the National Social Security Fund. We have been drawing from the wisdom of the proverb from the Kingdom of Buganda, which says, Agali awamu, gigarume nyama. It is the united teeth that chew the meat. In part 1 of this series, we explored 3 points related to lessons from the experience of the National Social Security Fund with respect to board dynamics. We gleaned these points from the experience of the 12th board of the NSSF. Those lessons focused on how board dynamics can break down when director behavior turns toxic, when skills alone are not enough, and when board members overstep the boundaries between oversight and management. In part 2, we examined how board dynamics are shaped by leadership and accountability. We saw that the board chair must lead with firmness, that shareholders and appointing authorities must act when governance breaks down, and that sometimes boards must learn to coexist with difficult members when removal isn't forthcoming or when removal is not an option. Hi, my name is Jimmy Walavyechi, and you're welcome to Corporate Governance Africa, where we seek to promote good governance through film. In this final part, we explore 2 more lessons from the NSSF experience. These focus on what boards can do before a crisis by carefully choosing the right people, that is, in the board appointment process, as well as after the crisis. What measures can a board take when there are challenges with their board dynamics? Here we shall look at using training and development to rebuild trust and to strengthen relationships amongst the board members. Board dynamics are the interactions between board members individually and collectively, and how these influence and are influenced by their wider stakeholder system. In simple terms, board dynamics are about how well the board members work together. The relationships that the board members have amongst themselves and how well they are able to work together has a ripple effect on the organization's governance. It also has an effect on the organization's direction, purpose, and vision, and whether or not the organization can actually meet its mission. In other words, board dynamics are not just about governance on paper, they are about how the board members relate, how they behave, and how they lead in real time. This subject is very important because if boards want to succeed, then these human factors must be deliberately managed or deliberately handled. Let's take a closer look at these 2 more points, or points of learning from the experience of the National Social Security Fund. To understand these 2 lessons which we focus on today, let's briefly recall what happened. Between 2022 and 2023, the 12th board of the Uganda National Social Security Fund faced significant internal tensions. A special parliamentary committee found that one board member had seriously disrupted board cohesion. The misconduct included unjustified financial requests, attempts to influence NSSF investments for allegedly personal benefit, public criticism of board members, and threats towards board members and senior management of the organization. Despite formal complaints to the appointing minister, no disciplinary action or no interventions were made by the minister. And this raised wider concerns about board appointments and shareholder oversight. It is in this context that we continue drawing out governance lessons that go beyond structures about how many board members there were or whether the appropriate skills were on the board, but we look at the boardroom culture and the importance of developing and appointing the right people to the board, because board dynamics is important. It is prudent to scrutinize prospective board members at the point of the nomination and appointment. The parliamentary report indicates that the minister has the power to remove board members, but the minister chose not to act. This raised questions about the nomination process and the criteria which was used to select the board members. It may be that organizations could decline to appoint a prospective member if valid concerns about their behavior are raised. In the case of the National Social Security Fund, the Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority had issued a certificate of the said director confirming that the director met the fit and proper test of a director. Nevertheless, the board member was still found to affect the dynamics in the boardroom negatively. It has been said that there are at least 5 intelligences which a board member should ideally possess. They are financial, strategic, relational, role, and cultural intelligences. Of particular importance or relevance to the subject of board dynamics is relational intelligence. Relational intelligence indicates an ability to build effective working relationships with peers. In the appointment process, it would be important to consider whether prospective board members possess this important intelligence. This is in addition to the relevant skills that can enrich the decision-making process on the board. The board may, through a company secretary, engage in training which is tailor-made for promoting good board dynamics. At this training, a board may address the differences or conflicts amongst the board members. In this respect, after the NSSF parliamentary probe, the board and senior management took part in a board acceleration program. From the 10th to the 13th of October 2023, they participated in a customized training under the Staff Administration and Corporate Affairs Program of the National Social Security Fund. The Integrated Annual Report of 2024 for the National Social Security Fund states that the training focused on rebuilding trust and teamwork within the NSSF board and EXCO after a period of external scrutiny and probes from the Parliament. The report further states that the program aimed to restore the organization's morale and performance by addressing relational challenges, fostering a people-centric culture, and preparing the National Social Security Fund to better withstand future shocks. The steps taken by the NSSF regarding the board dynamics show that board development may also include team building and may not necessarily be restricted to development of professional skills amongst the board members. The outcome of these interventions to address the matters related to the board dynamics on the NSSF is not really clear, as there is no public information as to the fruit or the outcome of the training. But still, the point remains that this is one of the interventions we can learn from NSSF as to what a board or a company secretary could do in case there is a concern about the board dynamics. In this third part of our series concerning board dynamics and the National Social Security Fund, we've seen that it's important to choose board members carefully. A candidate may pass regulatory checks, and yet they may still pose a risk to the boardroom culture. This is one of the reasons why the fit-for-purpose vetting must include character, temperament, and a proven ability to collaborate. We've also considered the value of reflection and recovery. After its governance crisis, the National Social Security Fund Board didn't just move on. It invested in rebuilding trust through targeted training. That step, which was supported by the company secretary, shows that the board development is not a one-time event, but it is a continuous process. Throughout this series, we have shared a Ugandan proverb, "Agali awamu, gegaluma ennyama." It is the united teeth that chew the meat. This is a constant reminder that unity gives a board its strength. But unity must be built on shared values, ethical leadership, and accountability among the members. So we conclude with 3 questions. As a board member, are you confident that your board's appointment process filters not just for qualifications, but also for ethics and teamwork? When board relationships suffer, do you invest time in restoring trust, or do you leave the problem just to solve itself? And if you're a company secretary, are you proactively supporting the board development before, during, and after a crisis? All these questions are important because in the end, healthy board dynamics are not an accident. They are the result of wise appointments, courageous leadership, and a shared commitment to serve the organization well. Someone said that good corporate governance is a victory. It's not a gift.